Hi friends, I am going to attempt to do a little bit of a how-to video about how I make my infused oils. Usually it's comfrey, but over the past few years I've done St. John's wort and I've done some mugwort. Now for the St. John's wort, that one is just the flowers in some olive oil is what I usually use, and I just like leave it on the windowsill to get some light. So that one's pretty straightforward. That's just a straight stick the botanical matter in the oil and leave it, of course making sure that everything is submerged under the oil so you don't get any mold. And then I have seen different ways to do infused oils, and I have tried different ways. One is using like the fresh botanical matter, but you have to be careful because of the moisture it still holds. So the original way that I learned at, I think it was at Gathering Time in at the time San Rafael. I think they're in Petaluma now. Anyway, we sort of had partially dried comfrey. It wasn't like real crispy dried, but we like wilted enough to take some of the moisture out of it. And then we put it with oil and did a double boiler method with heat. And that is still my favorite way. I've done it with Cammie McBride's way, where you have fully dried plant matter and you get it to a fine powder and then put it in jars with a blender. You know how you can get some of the jars where the blender base will fit on, the blade will fit on, you can screw it on, and then you put it on the blender base, and then you create heat from the friction. And you do tend to get, when I've done that, I have gotten like a deeper green, more potent kind of oil, but I still, I for some reason, I still like the original method that I used when I learned it at both Gathering Time and I think with, I don't know what she goes by now. She used to be Goose Sister Healing, Atava Garcia Swazetsky. I can't remember exactly her name, but she was part of the sort of East Bay Area herbalist community. So I am going to show you how I'm doing it today. I have gathered and dried some comfrey and a couple different kinds of mugwort, and I am going to cover them in olive oil because that's typically what I use. I actually have quite a lot of herb here, and I have more herb than is going to fit in this quart Pyrex. So what I'm going to do, and what I have done in the past, is I will do a double infusion. This will be the first one, and I'll just make sure that I get all my herb. Let me like tip you down just a little bit here. All my herb like into the oil and get the bubbles out. then what I do is I put it in a double boiler, and yeah, so I'll show you here the way this is. So I try to keep the water level low enough so that it won't be like splashing up into the oil, because we don't want like extra water in that. So this will take a while. Once it comes up to the water will be at a simmer. It won't be at like at a major rolling boil, because you don't want it super hot, and you don't want obviously the oil to boil. Clearly I haven't done one of these kind of videos in a long time. I actually may have some older videos about doing infused oil somewhere in the way back of all my videos here, but if I do, I probably didn't have as good of a camera. I don't know. I don't remember. So yeah, so we're gonna let this do its thing, and then I will come back and I will show you what it looks like after it's gone through the first infusion. I'll let that have just a low simmer and let it go for maybe 45 minutes or so. I just wanted to show about how much of a simmer I keep this at to keep the temperature from getting too hot for the oil. So you can see it's just a few bubbles there, like that's what it is on my stove. But yeah, so I wouldn't take it any higher than that. In fact, I'm going to turn it down just a little bit, but I wanted to show you that. So now I'm at the part in the process where this first batch of herb is finished its infusion in the double boiler. And what I'm going to do, hopefully not burn myself, I am going to strain it into this jar, and I'll let it sit for a little bit with the oil dripping out. And then what I'm going to do, and you can already see the color is different than let's see if we can compare. See, that's the regular olive oil color, so you can see the difference already. So I'm gonna leave it sit here for just a little bit. I may, well, yeah. So I'm just using kind of not a super fine mesh strainer here. When I do the second infusion, which I'm just going to do, it's over here. I'm just going to take this and I'm going to put these guys in here like this. I'm probably not going to worry about squeezing out every last bit of oil from this batch. The next batch, well, actually probably what I will do is I'm going to set it off to the side in a bowl, because when this one is done, I'll probably pour it all into some fabric I have some plain like cotton, and then I will, I'll let it cool a little bit, and then I will squeeze out all the bits of plant matter. They're since they weren't powdered, it's not going to be that, there won't be that much sediment. So this one, I'll turn my heat back on here, and this will go back in here. I don't think, at this point you probably want to check the level of your water, but this one still seems to be fine. So I am going to, again, let it go for about 45 minutes, and then we'll come back and I'll show you just the thing that I do with the cloth when I strain it all out, and we can check the color. So the second infusion is done. I put the botanical matter from the first in here, and what I'm going to do now is just take this out, make sure I wipe the bottom of it so I don't drip water, and then I'm just going to put it all in here. I will probably let it cool off a little bit, and then I'll come back and I will squeeze it out. I might start just a little bit now, but I don't really want to burn my hands. If you have where I took one of the classes, she had an actual it was like a hydraulic press, like a juice press from a Norwalk juicer or something like that. But we'll just let it sit here for a little bit, and then I will come back and I will show you the color in the jar. So here it is. Here's the finished oil. You can see that pretty green color there from the double infusion. I'm still letting the, it's still a little hot. I squeezed out quite a bit, but I'm gonna let that stay there for a little bit and then finish putting it in the jar. And I think, so for myself, okay, here's some things I want to say about the infused oil. I use it personally. You can look up online different places, different studies that have been done using comfrey and this and that, and mugwort for that matter. I am not going to say, use it and it's some kind of magic bullet. I like to use it because it feels good on my skin. It feels good as a massage oil. I use it mostly for massaging into achy places in my body. For me, when I make infused oils or when I make tinctures, there is some science that I've done my own research about, and I see how it reacts for me. But part of what I feel the healing component of these is just this connection to my garden and to the plants. So there is some sort of energetic, psychological aspect to all of this for me. But if you want more information on what is infused comfrey oil good for, or what is infused mugwort oil good for, there's lots of sources online, and I use it for myself because it feels good to rub into my feet or rub into my hands or my knees or my lower back or something like that. And before using anything like an infused oil or, you know, anything like that, you need to like check it out for yourself that you don't have allergic reactions to things and that sort of thing. I've been pretty fortunate in that regard, so things have always been fine. So anyway, so that's making an infused, that's how I make my infused herbal oils. And yeah, it's a fun little project for me. So, and I thought I would share with you. All right, bye-bye.